Broads Media.
I have so many damn questions on what the hell Rob Thomson was doing tonight, but it wasn't managing with a sense of urgency. With an off day, so many relievers are down because of a workload. You put in Hoffman in a tied baseball game against a division rival, the team that you're chasing because you came out flat to start the damn season. No Strom, no Jose Alvarado, no Marte. There's still Craig Kimbrell. There's still Gregory Soto. Those are at least reasonable guys. Now, I'm aggravated on why players aren't available after you don't play Monday night. That is a day for you to get healthy, to get rested, and to have your guys willing to take the ball. I can't stand this. You are supposed to make a statement against a team that you are trying to compete with. But instead, you give the game away. Why even pitch to Ronald Acuna Jr. with first base open? Why is Kyle Schwarber trying to bunt? What is JT Realmuto doing on the bases? Why is Alec Boehm not paying attention over at third base and then giving the Braves just a chance to go snag third just because they can? Why is Covey still on this baseball team? Do you see why I'm aggravated? Do you see why I have so many questions after I just finished that 4-2 baseball game? Brandon Marsh is getting a few hits. Seems like the competition in center field between him and Pache woke him up, but he gets a leadoff double in the third inning. He doesn't come around to score after reaching third. This team had so many times with men on. And by the way, they're doing this against Spencer Strider. How do you string 8 hits off of him and barely score? It can't happen. You won't beat the Braves that way. Maybe you could get away against the Oakland A's, but you can't get away against a team that knows what the hell they're doing. Matt Olson hit a shot that went 750 fucking feet. Ranger Suarez only made one mistake. He looked sharp, he looked crisp. Until the end there when he was shaking his shoulder and Kruk brought it up a few times. But I'm not really worried about it. I think Ranger Suarez is just a weapon. How about when he got the ball and he went to his right, threw it over to first base. It ended up being a bang-bang play, and he was called safe. But it's just the way he carries himself and the way he goes through the motions and the way he runs off the mound to make a play defensively. They didn't get the out over at first, but if you could look at it before seeing the result, it just screams what Ranger Suarez is all about. Never too high and really never too low. Just poised as hell. It's absurd. He made one mistake, and Austin Riley makes him pay. If I heard the broadcast correctly, that was his 4th against the Phillies. He's got 12 total, so a third of his home runs came against your team. He crushed it the last time these two teams met. This is a big week for you. And you can't let the Braves gain more of an advantage. Our whole entire topic today on the best show ever was about why the Braves have so much success and why can't the Phillies ever be like them. They find Ronald Acuna Jr. They make savvy trades and they get money to these players and get them paid nice and early. You know what the Phillies do instead? They give it to Scott Kingery. You know what Scott Kingery is doing? Making way too much money playing minor league baseball. It's an embarrassment. One franchise runs circles around you. And I know, the Phillies got the best of them last year in the postseason. But you'd be a fool to not be jealous of the sustained success that the Atlanta Braves provide. I won it. But listen to these runners in scoring position struggles. In the first inning, JT Realmuto strikes out with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber singling. Third, I mentioned the Marsh leadoff double. fourth, Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto are both on base, but then Stott grounds out, and then there's that double play that ends up with Bryce Harper getting tagged out over at third base. In the fifth inning, Bryce Harper strikes out. Yeah, people are worried about Bryce Harper and the lack of power, and Rob was even asked about it afterwards, and he said he's hitting the ball hard. He's just not getting on base. I'm aware that Bryce isn't playing his best ball. I know he's not performing at the highest clip. I'm just not hitting the panic button because we can't just pretend like he didn't come back from Tommy John surgery in historic time. And there's probably a physical side of this, and he'll just have to work through it. He wasn't even supposed to be back yet. We're talking about him returning to the field soon at a first base position and throwing the ball from 90 feet and putting everything he has into it. So I think we have to give him a little time to work through the return time. He deserves that. He should be given that. And we'll see. He's still hitting close to 300. It makes me laugh when Alec Boehm shows no power and hits 300. People are going out of their way to defend him every single second. Now, I don't think it's okay. So if you use my logic, if I don't think it's okay for Alec Boehm, then why give Bryce a free pass? Well, because one guy is Bryce Harper. Okay? And when you are a stud, and when you are a star, and when you're MVP multiple times in this league, I'll hit the panic button later. I think there's other problems right now than just Bryce. I need more. I think we'll get more from him, though, soon. Because when he does go through these down spurts, when he gets hot, you don't want to be in the opposing dugout. It's coming. And it'll be for a long period of time. He'll let this thing rip for months. Maybe it's after the All-Star break. Maybe he needs that time to decompress. Remember JT Realmuto when he wasn't vaccinated and they went to Toronto, and then when JT Realmuto got back into the lineup, led the league in OPS. Maybe it would be good for Bryce Harper to get a little bit, to breathe, and to let that arm rejuvenate. Let that elbow get a few days off. Will he properly give it time? I don't know. My guess is he'll be throwing from 90 feet. Taking ground balls nonstop over at first. You have to drag him off the field. It's possible. I don't know. I just hate the fact that this was an avoidable loss. It didn't have to end this way. But because your manager elected to not manage with the sense of urgency, Rob managed this game like it's against the Baltimore Orioles when they were losing 100-plus games a season, and you're in Camden Yards in the beginning of spring, or in the beginning of the season, I should say, right after spring training. Like it was a game in early June against the Kansas City Royals or some random AL West team. This is the Braves. It's a big week. Braves Mets, and the Mets bend you over every series. Why do I bring that up? Because until I am proven that they won't get beat down, the Phillies are getting beat down by the Mets in my eyes, no matter how bad they are. They shouldn't. Not this time around. The Mets are a disaster. But they own you at the moment. So this Braves series means that much more. 4-2 was the minimum that I would accept this week. You can't be okay with 3-3 against these two opponents when you're at CBP. If you're going to struggle on the road, you have to pick up games when you're playing in South Philly. You can't be 500. So that means 4-2 has to be done. 5-1 is acceptable. 6-0, I'd be filled with glory. Now you have to win the series against the Braves, and you have to win the series against the Mets. Before there was an alternative. sweep the Braves and win one against the Mets, still fall in that matchup, but you're going 4-2 then. And while we'd be aggravated with the Mets doing it again, there'd be a lot of pride in the ability to sweep Atlanta, who's strong. This lineup is gross. Now you have to win 2 in a row against this same team, and losing the ability to throw Ranger hurts you. You lost the game at Ranger Suarez. Going up against Strider, it is a wash, as the Mets are losing 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th. Just pointing that out as I try and look to see what the other pitchers are. Oh, that's right, Aaron Nola tomorrow with a 4.66 ERA. This kid they're throwing tomorrow against Nola has a 2.03 ERA, a .98 whip. He's gross. 6'3", 205. Want to know how old he is? 20 years old. They just find these guys and they develop talent. It's scary, and I'm so damn jealous. 5 1/3 against the Washington Nationals in a win. 0 earned runs. 2 1/3, 0 earned runs against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those were his first 2 starts this season. Oh, wait, I'm not sure if the Arizona one was a start or if he came into the game. Yeah, he came into the game in relief. So that one wasn't a start. Regardless, though, Aaron Nola scares me. Aaron Nola scares me. And then on the final game, Thursday afternoon, Taijuan Walker against Elder, who has a 2.60 ERA and a 5-1 win-loss record, 83 innings pitched. Walker, who's been performing way better, 4.31 ERA, with 7 wins already in 10 starts. That's what you got lined up the rest of the way if you want to mentally prepare on what you have to be ready to watch. Oh, it's so deflating that the guy who's in control and the one that's supposed to set the tone decided to give this one away. You can make the argument, though, if they did put Ronald Acuna on first base instead of pitching to him to lose the lead, it's Hoffman we're talking about. Is Hoffman going to get anybody out in this lineup? They're so deep. Pick and choose. They'll probably score. They'll probably execute. I can't argue against it. It's not as if a bum is up at the plate after Ronald Acuna Jr. gets put on base for free. So you're right, maybe there's more pain caused anyway. But I hate the way that this looked out of character to the good Phillies team that we've been watching. A lot of mistakes, timely hits, you came up flat. We need you. Pressure's on, okay. Time to step up. You got a lot of hits on Spencer Strider. Do something about it. You let him off free. You won't beat the Braves if you let that happen. Corey Seidman had a stat on how many games Spencer Strider has played. The Phillies lead 1-0 through 5 innings. They have 8 hits off Spencer Strider. He's allowed more hits only one time in his 35 Major League Baseball starts. There's only been one other outing that another team has brought on a bunch of hits and raked on you. You score 1 run? Come on. But between that and JT going for second base, he was safe. The replay showed he was safe. The call on the field, it stood because I guess they couldn't make it out clear enough if his fingers were actually removed off the bag at any point while the tag was still applied. I'll tell you right now, JT Realmuto was safe. The gamble, though, wasn't worth the risk. The reward is not there. Let it be first and third and keep the offense churning. Let someone else step up to the plate. Keep your foot on the gas and apply pressure. You have to at least give your teammate the opportunity. Go in the second there
while you were safe. I didn't think it was necessary to try and grab the bag. Between that and between Kyle Schwarber bunting, I've lost my voice over the last 2 years screaming about why I love him getting the most at-bats, and it wasn't because of him slapping around the bunt. You're not Garrett Stubbs. Hey, Garrett Stubbs, do whatever you need to do. You don't see a lot of live pitching in regular season play. You're called upon very rarely because JT Realmuto gets so much time. So if you need to lay it down, then so be it. Lay it down and get on first base. I don't care. Grind it out. If you're Cody Clemens, if you're anybody else, really, I think Cody Clemens deserves to swing it and see if he can rip it more than bunt it, honestly. I don't give a lot of people that free pass to just bunt it. But Garrett Stubbs, fine. Kyle, I believe in you. It takes one swing. Do you want to give them credit for getting Kyle Schwarber up at the plate with a man on base, down 2 in the 9th before he struck out? Okay, they didn't go down without a minor fight. That's not going to keep it a easier way to sleep at night. I won't sleep easy tonight because of that. Why are we laying down bunts, Kyle Schwarber? Rob Thomson hurt this team. He was terrible. That's one of the worst managed games I've ever seen. The way the bullpen was used, though, as he was told that some weren't available, that seems to be more of an organizational thing, not just a Rob thing. That's how they handled their bullpen pieces before. We've seen it. Guys that should be available are not. You're facing the Braves. You had an off day. No sense of urgency. There's one dude that I think does deserve less innings currently, and there's 2 different reasons why. One is he's getting destroyed, and that's Matt Strahm. Too many home runs in too many of his recent outings. You're playing with fire. And he's also seen a lot of wear and tear already. I can live with no Matt Strahm. No Marte because he had a save. Not too long ago, that save was electric. He showed filthy stuff. I don't think you could sell me Hoffman in any way where I could accept it. There's zero logic in that move. And before we start rocking anytime hotline calls, I do have one final thing to say, and this is clear that I'm aggravated and I'm reaching very hard. I saw an inning, and I got nervous with this because of 3 lefties in your lineup. 8, 9, and 1. Clemens, Marsh, Kyle. You can look at the box score and see that they did a lot of damage between Marsh and Schwarber. They're the last people I should be upset at, and I'm not upset at them at all. I saw Spencer Strider leave the game. Snicker went to a lefty, and that lefty got all 3 of them out. Bang, bang, bang. Let's wrap it up and get to the next half inning. Easy. They performed well. Am I nitpicking because I'm angry at Rob? Probably. Yes. Not even probably. The answer to that is yes. I just knew that that would come back to bite you at some point. You can make the argument, why have all those lefties in a row? And I tend to look at that. I always want to break up Bryce and Schwarber. Even before, when they first signed Trey Turner, everyone was rolling through what they would do with the batting order if they were the ones who were walking out the lineup card to the ump before the game began. And it's all right. I don't care if Schwarber bats second, put Turner 1, Schwarber 2, we'll put Bryce 3. I don't care about back-to-back lefties. Well, you already see how important it is when Rob Thomson goes Schwarber 1, Harper 4 to separate them more, to make it more difficult for the opposing team's manager to make managerial decisions when looking at his bullpen. I saw 3 in a row, and I wondered if that would come back to bite them. It did in that specific inning. Now, ultimately, Marsh was on base. Got a couple hits. Good for him to respond to the adversity. I knew those 3 lefties would hurt you, though. And it did. but I'm nitpicking. I get it. All right. Anytime hotline. I'll shut up. We'll go to you.
Bros, two things about this game bothered me, and it was the reason I believe we lost. The first and most important was when the difference in the managers. The Atlanta manager, when his starter went down, he came in with his top gun relievers. When our starter went out, our manager tried to get tricky and came in with the off guys and not our top guys. And I don't understand the move. I don't understand why they weren't available. And I think that cost us the game. The second thing is the players, specifically Schwarber and Realmuto. Why is he trying to bunt Schwarber in the seventh inning, I believe it is? And then Realmuto, what's the difference of getting to second base? Stott is still going to be the tying run. So keep your butt on first.
I think you bring up two excellent points, and you're right on the money. That's exactly what I saw. I saw a team decide that this game wasn't very important to them, that they'd rather value the long term on some of their bullpen and some of their relievers instead of winning this baseball game. I hate to be so simple here, and it does seem like a cliche, but what's the purpose and what's the point of saving some arms if at the end of the day you're not getting where you want to be? I don't like that they're not approaching this with killer eyes. Go win the division. Why is it always wild card just getting? Go win the division. Do something about it. Why does it have to be the Braves? Part of the reason why you were fatigued last year is because you had to play an extra series, which then forces your pitchers to pitch more innings. Maybe that's where you get them some more time. Instead of an important game, why don't you skip a whole series in the playoffs and relax and wait for the opponent to come to you? You can totally disregard the first round of the postseason if you had killer eyes right now. I was afraid that last year's journey and how it went would dictate certain things this year and skew the way decisions were made and skew the way fans watch the team. And I was correct. That's happened. Go after it. Instead, they backed up into a corner. They let the Braves be the, what's the opposite of submissive? The dominant? I don't know. You ever see 50 Shades of Grey? How the hell did we get here? I don't know. No idea. Don't know how we got to a sex kink. Didn't expect to ever get there. Speaking of, I want to thank everybody who reached out about the news that was announced Monday at 5 p.m. on The Fanatic. If you missed it, my wife is pregnant. I am stoked. I am pumped. We do know the gender, but we're waiting to tell the people. So at the end of next week, or at the end of this week, early next week, I'll share that information with you. But I am so pumped. December 27th is the due date, so Christmas baby time. Wow. Unreal. Can't thank you enough for all the supporting messages and for everyone who's excited to go on this journey with me. We went from sex kink, submissives, to my wife's pregnant. Yeah, I don't know. Losing my mind. What's next?
Well, you know it's not your night when Dylan Covey is the only reliever that comes in and does his job. I mean, we saw a lot of things from the Phillies tonight that we saw early in the year when they were struggling. Way too many swings and misses, mediocre bullpen, and that's being nice. And, you know, once again, running yourself into outs. What the hell is JT Realmuto doing there? You stay at first base, you have the tying run come to the plate, and a kid who's hitting close to 300, and you took the bat out of his hands. I mean, that's inexcusable for a young player, let alone a veteran like Realmuto. just not good enough. I mean, Spencer Strider had sucked balls coming into the start. As usual, the Phillies make him look like Cy Young, at least in the regular season. And, you know, you hope for Aaron Nola to have a good game, but...
I'm sorry. That wasn't right. That was rude. I just don't have a lot of faith in Spencer Strider. Sorry, in Aaron Nola. I was typing Spencer Strider because I do have some pushback with Sean there. He did have a couple of rough outings prior to this one. Spencer Strider's nasty. Nasty, nasty. He's not going to give you 5 innings, 5 earned runs like you just saw against the Tigers on June 14th where he allowed 3 home runs and walked 2. You're not going to see what he did against the Mets on June 8th a lot. 8 earned runs, 8 hits, 2 home runs allowed, 2 walks. So see the difference in what the Mets poured on? The Mets poured on 8 earned runs when they had 8 hits in the game. That is a massive difference. You obviously win this baseball game if you're able to do that. But Spencer Strider isn't going to get rocked with those stat lines consistently. With that said, 8 hits! 8 hits! You were doing something right. An excellent point by you to bring up Bryson Stott smoking close to 300. I don't even think that's getting talked about that much. It's kind of sliding under the radar. You can't screw up there. You've played way too much baseball to fall asleep. This team always makes it harder for themselves. When will that stop? Ever? This has been happening for years now. From the past regime to the regime before that, meaning Kapler, Girardi, now Rob. They don't think the game well. And I don't know if you could teach that. One thing that always bothers Ricky is when a pitcher doesn't run to first base when there's a ground ball to the left or to the right side of the infield. And he doesn't get over to first base. He goes, they don't practice this stuff anymore. They don't run the bases. They don't go through the basics. They don't work on the fundamentals the same way through the early stages of spring training. So why would you expect them to do their jobs when it's just not like really drilled into their brains the same way that it used to be? And that's fair with certain parts of the game. I do agree with that with pitchers going to first base to cover. So if a first baseman makes a nice play, dives to his right, he can just flick it and underhand toss it to the pitcher who's running to first base to get the out. That I agree with. But some of these others, I think they just don't think the game well. And at this point, how do you change that with a guy like JT? You can't change that. They've been around baseball way too much. If it hasn't clicked now, let's use Ronald Acuna Jr. as the example. He's got the world of talent in him. He didn't get to second base because he wasn't hustling out of the box. Would it have changed much? I don't know. It's more of the point of last year in the postseason at CBP, he's not following up anybody. He's not making the fundamental plays to support his teammates. Lazy. Not hustling. He's played enough baseball. Snicker can bench him all he wants. It's not going to work. The message was never received. What are you going to do about it? Just keep playing him. So I guess with the Phillies, all you can keep doing is continue to play them. And you have to live with that and see if there's other areas of the game that you're so good at that makes up for those mistakes and those flaws. There's no other way to go about it. We'll take one more.
What's up, bros? Couple takeaways from this game. Bryce's AB in the 8th inning was pathetic. I think I'm done with the Cody Clemens experience. We got Derek Hall healthy in AAA. He needs to be brought up. He's the corner infielder we've been missing. And watching Jeff Hoffman, top of the 7th, come out in a 1-1 game, it's like we're trying to lose. I don't understand. Jeff Hoffman, Dylan Covey should not be on this team.
I don't disagree with the Covey stuff and being mad about Hoffman. I am going to disagree with having this rage on Clemens. Clemens has been just fine. He's got a really good glove over at first base. I'm not giving up on him yet. Derek Hall is the infielder that we've been missing. I don't think that's why this team went off to a slow start. Reese, sure. Cody Clemens has been just fine. Putting Alec Boehm over at first and then So-So playing third base, fine. I don't feel the same level of frustration about Derek Hall not playing after we've gotten this from Cody Clemens. He's actually deserved playing time. I don't know if that's sustainable. I don't know if he's going to continue that. I thought he stunk in the beginning. Then he became something nice. And we'll see where that goes. Same with Pache. We'll see where they go. I don't know. Derek Hall is not a no-brainer lock in my eyes. He very well may get another chance at some point. I know he can hit home runs. The difference in this team beating the Braves tonight or not, it's not Derek Hall instead of Cody Clemens. Cody went over. It's not why, though. JT, Rob, Bryce. He had that AB that I didn't like. Would hope he'd be more clutch. He's not on my list like Rob is, though. Or JT is. That's where my eyes are focused tonight. All right, with that, we'll see how they respond tomorrow. Catch you guys all on the next one.